Put it in the packet right now. Gotta get it down now. No Marfoogle news. Get into the Marfoogle news. I got it. I put it right now. Everybody got it.
What is going on, guys? It's Adam, aka Marf. Today's show, we're going to go over everything that's just happened in the past 4 days. We're going to update you in just a second. We'll be right back right after this. Put it in the packet. All right, remember, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The calls and the viewers' calls can not represent us, of course, and can differ considerably from our opinions. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. This is a live show, so anything can happen, including what just did. Anyways, what is going on? We have a lot to talk about. We have had a scorching last week here in Seattle. We had a all-time record, I think, in the West Coast, might even be in the country, of 118 degrees. I've been posting about that. At first when I said that we were going to have a heat wave and that we were doing stuff about it, people in the Midwest said, oh, yeah, we have that kind of temp all the time. I don't think many people have 118 degree temperatures ever. So that was insane. Even people with AC couldn't handle. Local store here lost about $500,000 in groceries because all of their freezers and refrigerators, every single one of them broke. And they had to throw everything out, not 1 day, but 2 days. So that was nuts. So before we get started, I just want to remind anybody who is new here, we actually try to back up everything we say on our website. So if you go there now, you'll see that it's very easy to navigate. You just look for today's thumbnail with Mr. Kaz there and here. And all you'll have to do is click that, and it will bring you to every single link, every single video, every single article, every single picture that we show you here is going to be on the website. That way you know exactly where your news is coming from. So we'll get to that here in just a second. And then that is, again, at marfooglenews.com. Also, on the right side of that page, when you hit there, you can support us in any way. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network. We do not have a multi-billion-dollar corporation behind us. It for now is me and Dex and the mods. So speaking of Dex, my co-host / internet brother / the hostess with the mostest, what's going on?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but my air conditioning is on, and usually when I hear creators say that, you can't hear it. So I'll just assume that it is okay. Let's get straight into the news. A satellite's impending fiery demise shows how important it is how to keep space clean. So, Dex, obviously, we've had a couple things come into the atmosphere lately, and I have a feeling that there's a lot more stuff going on above us than they actually are saying. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, certainly. And we're hearing more and more news over the last year about what is, I guess, in this category of space junk. And in this particular instance, they're testing new technology. And we've talked about the different types of technology they're looking at to clear that up, from magnets to, lasers and other things. But apparently these guys are something that's going to go up into the atmosphere and try to collect things when they're at the end of their life, and then pull them back down and have them, re-enter or burn up correctly. So it's kind of interesting that this is such a big deal, because there is absolutely so much junk apparently up there now.
And it says, space is vast, but the area around our planet is getting crowded. New technology and proliferation of competing rocket companies have made it cheaper to reach low Earth orbit. But more objects in space can also mean more spacecraft damage and collisions. That could jeopardize satellites that connect rural and underserved areas with broadband, as well as those that take images that help farmers track their crops' health. It could even endanger the International Space Station, or so they say. It pilots, astronauts, and research aboard that could fuel cancer treatments and the creation of organs for transplant. So that last part, just my personal opinion. So the ISS and cancer treatment in general probably will never happen. That's just my solid opinion because currently, as we speak, I think they make trillions of dollars on cancer medicine. So we wouldn't want to end that. I mean, anyways. Going on to the next one, I'm going to have Dex explain this one. This is one that, of course, Dex picked out, and it is pretty cool, actually, if you think about it. But again, I know that there's going to be a chunk of you who would like to see proof of this pudding. And speaking of pudding, we'll talk about that later. Dex, what is going on with this? Cosmic gulp, astronomers see black hole swallow a neutron star.
Yeah, so this is kind of interesting for, but it's also fits into that realm of things that we can't see. So we just have to take the word of those people who tell us about it. But apparently, a black hole has swallowed a neutron star, and they've watched it. They've seen it happen. It went really quickly, but it was the first time it's ever happened, and the first time they've ever seen it. And apparently, it happened in a matter of minutes. And by the way, a neutron star is extremely big. Actually, its physical size is really small. I think it's like 6 miles across. It's the remnants of a very large star that collapses. But what ends up, I guess the way they describe it is if you had a teaspoon of a neutron star, it's something like billions of pounds or billions of tons is how much it would actually weigh. So that's kind of fascinating when you think about something so small but yet so heavy, and then obviously just being sucked up in a matter of seconds or minutes into a black hole and being removed from the sky.
See, this is the other part that obviously us as Earthlings can't really understand or put this into perspective as far as physics-wise or just in our humanly life. There's nothing like this. Imagine a teaspoon that weighs billions of pounds. That sounds like science fiction. It sounds just absurd. But that's apparently...
Even more. Billions of tons.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Billions of tons. So that each ton is 2,000 pounds. So you're talking about, trillions of pounds. So that's the whole thing about this. It's like... One thing that I sometimes don't believe is there have been so many changes to our science that kind of totally contradict things that they've just said 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or let alone a lot of things have changed since, the 60s, since the 50s, since there was a big boom in, of course, science and technology and everything that happened. So we don't know if in 20 years from now they're going to tell us that all of this is BS. That's why we cover it. But again, I would just say, if you follow this, obviously, a lot of things are changing. They're setting us up to say that everything is about to change. They even told us just in less than a month ago that basically the way that matter and dark matter works is totally different than what they thought. So what that sets us up to is that they can say, everything we thought was wrong. Everything we thought about space, everything we, thought was correct is totally on its head. So it would be a 2021 thing for that to happen, next week. But again, all sorts of craziness. And then, of course, the letter sent months before the deadly Florida collapse warned damage to condo building was accelerating. Now, on both ends of this, I know that we have a couple of factions kind of debating about this, and some a little bit more heated on than the word debate. But as far as this goes, there's a lot of opinions on how this happened. I won't get too into that, but what I will say is you would definitely need some sort of thing a few months before like this to set it up if it was on one side. On the other side, there are all these buildings that are, of course, gone through many storms and this and that. The one thing that a lot of people have a problem with is how it literally pancaked and just dissolved. I wonder how the storms could have damaged it to do that. Again, lots of crazy stuff. There's a lot of weird stories that are coming out of this. Again, there was a phone line, and this is really, really weird. And some of you may have heard this. I might even do a small video on this. there was a older couple, a man and a woman, who were senior citizens, and they are still missing. Their grandson continually keeps getting calls from their landline telephone. And how it was is their place was actually on, the half that basically fell, and their nightstand was actually still there. Apparently, the nightstand with the landline phone was still there, and everything else collapsed. So the landline's sitting there, and apparently it keeps calling the grandson. Now, they have an explanation for this. They say that because it's an old landline, maybe it has a rotary system, and that it's copper wires, that if it taps, it can do kind of speed dial, whatever their number 1 or number 2 speed dial is. If it taps the wire twice, then it might call the grandson. But it's very strange. It's some are saying that, maybe that's a sign from the grandparents saying, hey, we're okay, we're gone, but we're in the right place, or the other side. It was very weird, though, because think about it. A lot of people even thought that maybe they had a portable phone, and if you've ever used a portable phone, if you hit talk twice, it actually dials the last known dialed number. So you can imagine these people in some sort of crevice, only with the ability to tap one button on their phone and trying to tap it, or maybe blindly tapping redial and trying to get a hold of their grandson. But they say that that's not the case, and they have special technology. They have sound equipment that says that there's no more unexplored crevices or, these basically these gaps in the collapse. So, and they've already recovered basically just one woman and a child, I believe. So very, very strange stuff. As far as this goes, there's actually a letter that was sent before it. This was Board President Gene Wadnicki, not to be confused with the owner of this platform, addressed the letter to neighbors on April 9th. So what was that, about 2 months ago? Says the concrete deterioration is accelerating. The roof situation got much worse, so extensive roof repairs had to be incorporated, says the letter acquired by CNN's Aaron Burnout out front. Wadnicki says further describes issues facing the building, saying when you can visually see the concrete spalling or cracking, that means the rebar holding it together is rusting and deteriorating beneath the surface. A structural field survey performed in 2018 by Morabito Consultants found several things wrong with the building, including major structural damage below the pool deck, according to the report. It says the failed waterproofing is causing major structural damage to the concrete structural slab below these areas. And, of course, it actually said that an estimate to the condo association was to make the extensive and necessary repairs. And others are saying that they did not do those repairs. And then the thing collapsed. Somebody on Twitter jumped on when this first happened, this story literally just came out. I put out a single tweet, and about 5 minutes later, I put out kind of what I thought after reading all of the stuff that was out on it. But my first tweet was saying, who was in this building? And by the way, I leave my tweets up, even if they, there's been a couple cases where I'm blatantly wrong where I correct it. But what I do is I'll leave it up and then I'll correct it after that. Then, I made a mistake and I fixed it. When I first saw this, and you have to see it from me watching the video of this happening, and my reaction was much like everyone else's. When you see that thing go like tower, what I'm saying, it's kind of like it brought me back to 2001. I was like, holy moly, why is it just whoosh? So when I saw that, I wrote what I thought. And again, you don't see that in just a residential area in Florida, whatever happened. So that was my response. 5 minutes later, I tweeted and basically said some more stuff about it. And then on the show, where it really matters, we went in extensively and gave you all of the answers, the official stories, the other official stories, and everything else. So we try to correct what we say. And if I say something just off the wall, I usually always correct it if it's not something I truly believe in. And again, I still think that there's just something. I've never seen something like that. How have we not seen that before with 100 years of buildings all over in urban areas that have been hit by storms. How has one not done that before? Not like that. I mean, that was just whoosh. I guess now we have video though, so video could be covering it. What do you think, Dex, as far as how that kind of all went down?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of speculation around it, even from everything of what happened out to sea, which was not in the general vicinity. But we'll never really know. There'll be reports, and we'll probably have an official report that comes out that tells us something, and we'll have to either decide that we want to believe that or not. And I think there'll be plenty of people that won't, and there'll be plenty of people that are looking for answers and looking for different answers. So
that's right.
It'll always be there.
Thank you, Linda Chit Tester. Thank you so much for subscribing. Pamela Reinitz, thank you as well for subscribing just a few minutes ago. Zippy Moons, thank you for popping over to YouTube. First one in, I believe. Like, share, and comment. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, Zippy. And thanks for popping over to YouTube. Stephen McMahon says there is no John Durham. Thank you for the support and appreciate that. And then Silly Gurgle says, hey, Marv, Dex, and Foogle fam, glad to be together. Thank you, Silly Gurgle. Gurgle. It's G-I-R-G with an L at the end. I don't know how to say your name. Silly Gurgle. Silly Gurgle. Gurgle. Somebody's going to clip that. Neighboring buildings worry about safety after Florida condo collapse. Again, this isn't the only thing collapsing. We're going to get into, of course, pretty much everything that's going on. A sister building in the same complex as the collapsed Florida condo has new cracks in its garage, but experts said residents are safe, even as voluntary evacuation is in effect. Photos taken by a resident of Champlain Towers East show a large chunk of stone crumpled off a pillar in the garage, damage that the resident told local news outlets wasn't visible until after the Champlain Towers South collapsed on Thursday. It says, I'm afraid that there could be some issues in our building that could result in what we saw in Champlain Towers. It says, but structural engineer Alan Kilsheimer found that damage was no of immediate concern, saying that both sister buildings to the collapsed condo showed no visible evidence of any major structural concerns. So,
let me ask you this: Would you spend the night there?
Probably not, but at the same time, that was like a super rare thing. But get this: so they were probably built the same time, right? I mean, is that what we're assuming?
Yeah, I would assume that they're probably built the same time. They're the same age. They're probably dealing with the same or similar problems.
And the same storms, right?
And the same association that had to gather money together to do repairs that either did or didn't do them, if that's what it was, right?
Yeah. No, I probably wouldn't.
I'd be pretty nervous about it. I'm sure you could probably get a really good deal if you want to buy one of those condos right now.
Yeah. Timeshares are free right now. I'll share them with pretty much everybody. Everybody I don't like, right? Yeah. So that's sounds like a place that doesn't need to have people in it. Either way, whatever you may think about this, I think it's pretty rare, as far as I wouldn't think that the same exact thing would happen to it, but who knows? What is your opinion? Let's go over to the chat real quick. Thank you so much, everybody over on DLive. By the way, a lot popped in. Bear Claws, Informed Woman. We've got Toadman, Kimby15. We've got Andrea22. Thank you so much for the diamond. Lisa K says sinkholes, magma moving underground. And then Bear Lover 92,000. By the way, Lisa K, thank you so much for being at pretty much almost every show. Thank you so much. Same with Carolina Roots, Edgy Whalen. Susan loves Huskies. Now we have so many different I love different dogs names in here. We've got Chihuahuas, we've got Dachshunds, we've got, I know I'm forgetting at least 3 now, and now Huskies. Johnny Fry Guy, Meat Puppet 007, and of course Johnny Fry Guy says, what's up, Marv? Thank you for your support, and thank you for popping in. Nothing much. We just dealt, by the way, for those of you that care, we dealt with the craziest heat. I might post pictures of what we ended up doing, even with now 2 air conditioners, which it was like, usually they say basically you need to take one place in your house and cool it down. We tried to do that, but I couldn't plug both AC conditioners into the same room because even if there were different fuses, they just kept popping the fuse. So we had to do one in, one time and then put the other one somewhere else, but it didn't do any help because we weren't in that room. It was extremely hard to keep cool because we have sun basically the entire day. We don't have any cover. We have no, mountains blocking us or anything. So it was the worst thing I've ever gone through. And we have an 8-month-old baby and a 2-year-old. So between that and not being able to fully cool down, us using AC got us down to 84 degrees. I mean, like, that's how bad it was. And it did not feel good. And you barely open the window or the door and everything comes in 118 degrees. Imagine if you've ever been to Las Vegas and opened the window at night and that hot air comes in. It was like that times 10. It felt like because they even said, there's even an article that I believe that says you felt the hottest day you will probably ever feel in your entire life. Again, that might change in the 10 years if they keep, using lasers and whatever. But this thing was it was unbelievable. I cannot believe.
How was your water?
Oh,
water
yeah.
temperature?
So I told Dex.
And tell them about the car too.
Oh, so the water was so hot that it all the way cold, even running for 30 minutes was just like boiling water. You couldn't take a cold shower. You couldn't go to your sink and get cold water. Even the fridge water, which the fridge tries to cool it down when it comes out of the ice thing, that was warm because it was hot going in and it cools it down to hot. And then the car, so what we ended up doing is we ended up having to drive around. We have AC in our car that works really well, but it's an older vehicle. So what happened is, and a lot of people everywhere we drove, there was somebody on the ground, ambulances everywhere. I'm not even exaggerating. When we were downtown, I saw at least 3 people on the sidewalk with people hovered over them. One person was getting CPR on like 9th and Pike or something. And these people were hovered over, and it was a homeless guy that had basically no shirt, and they were doing CPR on him. I basically slowed down, and I said, "What's going on? Did he get hurt?" And they said heat stroke, they think. And so then nobody had a phone. I ended up calling the police on that one. Then we drove down the street, and there was another person on the sidewalk. On top of this, we could not slow down. It was like we were in the movie Speed, and I'm not kidding. Because our car with the AC on, because remember we have an 8-month-old baby and a 2-year-old that we have to keep cool. If we stopped even for a long time at a stoplight, it was overheating so bad that we had to actually put it in neutral and drive to keep the fan going. If we stopped for any amount of time with the AC on, our car temperature went like this. I saw Mercedes-Benz, brand new 2021 Mercedes-Benz pulled over with stickers. I took a picture of a few of these. I mean, you would see cars. It was like something out of an apocalypse movie. Cars that were pulling out of a spot in a downtown area where they're blocking a lane, pulling out, and their car just died. One person said, "Sorry, my car overheated. I'll be back when I can," and just left their 2021 Mercedes-Benz just sitting there blocking half of a downtown street. I saw so many cars pulled over, so many people that just basically abandoned their car because they couldn't take it if they didn't have AC. I mean, here's the thing. I know most of you guys don't care because you're not here and you didn't have to go through it. But I will say this. If our weather keeps, whatever is causing this weather to go, if you want to argue about if it's warming or if it's harpy or whatever the hell you want to call it, I foresee that in the next 10 years, they're at least going to tell us that it's going to get to 120, 125, whatever it may be. So whatever's happening is absolutely insane. We've never had temperatures even close. Our hottest day was like 105. And now to beat that, in fact, Dex, your hottest day in Atlanta, Georgia was, what was it?
Yeah, in Hotlanta, our record is 106. So to put that in perspective, Seattle, Pacific Northwest blew that out of the water. And you guys are supposed to always be cold.
So there is something going on. This goes into a bigger subject of like what the hell is going on with this weather, and this sets it up for the worst fires. And this is moving
across. It's not just you guys. It's moving across. So yeah, other people are in the path of it.
So people are going to experience this after us. But guess what? This also sets us up for a fire season like no other. As you also don't know, if you weren't in the West Coast, we had such bad fires last year that it was out of an apocalypse movie. Close to the end of the show, I'll show you some of the pictures from that. You couldn't see 10 feet ahead of you. It was something out of a sci-fi flick. You're looking at the sun. You could actually look up at the sun because it was just a dim kind of, red dot in the sky. It was so smoky, you couldn't see 20 feet out. I mean, it was like the worst fog you've ever seen, only it was such dangerous smoke that if you spent 10 minutes outside, it was like breathing in a chemical factory. It was horrendous. And to think that everything is dried up because of this heat now, I can only imagine what's going to happen in just a month. They already say that the fires are starting. Just wait. What can they get done with this? Rolling blackouts, West Coast, prepare. Midwest, prepare. Because watch, they're going to turn off your power. And you might not have power for 7 days. Get prepared. Have water. We were lucky to have so much stuff prepped. Because, man, there was no water. No water on the shelf anywhere here. Marv, the poor people, that is awful. Too hot, Lisa K. Again, we lost like 37 people. 37 people died in like a day. I mean, it was insane. Solve the mystery on the hot weather. The guy downstairs made a mistake and didn't read the DC. N95 here. Thank you for supporting, especially, again, thank you for the Ninja Genie. I appreciate it. Especially now, we've now been down for 4 days, so that is very helpful. Thank you. Moving on, just to get moved on here. Let's go right into NATO. NATO's largest ever sea breeze naval drills begin in the Black Sea amid the HMS Defender fracas. This is, again, just another sign. This is, again, there are so many things pointing in the same direction, and people want to say, oh, this is all, this is all fear-mongering and whatever else. Just wait. We're going to meet the wolf one day, and it's going to be, people are going to stop saying, they're crying wolf. There's a lot of people that agree with me right now, and I don't understand why people don't see what is happening. Even if you think that all of the world powers are teamed up and buddy and high-fiving white guys behind the scenes, they're still going to show us a big show. It says the U.S. and its allies have began using, quote, freedom of navigation operations to provoke incidents at sea with Russia, China, and other nations by deliberately sailing their ships through these nations' claimed territorial waters. The U.S. claims to be enforcing the UN Convention on the Laws of the Sea, but it's never ratified the document itself. The U.S. and 31 allies and partners inaugurated the 21st Sea Breeze exercise in Odessa, Ukraine on Monday. The drills, positioned immediately off of Russia's Crimean coast, are the largest yet, and come as Kiev is increasing pressure on NATO to be admitted to the alliance. Now, Dex, what's so special about them doing it in this area?
Well, this is the same area, right? This is just, it's near the disputed waters of Crimea. It's the same area that the HMS that we showed that video of that went through what they said was a shipping lane, but then
the Royal
Russia
Navy
said was the Royal Navy. And Russia said no, this is our territory. You're invading our territory. So it's pretty disputed, and it was really hot. They fired weapons at the time. And they've since made additional threats saying, if you come through here again, we will retaliate. So here we are running drills, and we're, starting them up this week right in that area. And it's not just drills, it's big drills and a lot of ships and a lot of people.
So they told the Royal Navy HMS, this ship that we just saw this, engagement with, and they, again, they showed video of them showing a shot over the bow, 3 shots in front of it. They denied it, but the BBC reporter that was on board that Navy ship said that they indeed did fire the shots, and they even trailed them with 20 jets, 20 aircraft behind them. So, again, we didn't know how to believe. Then a couple days later, they said, basically, if you come back to this area, we will use real ammunition. Now, you could chop that up to words, but guess what? Then NATO comes back in, NATO, the big bad NATO, and they're doing these drills exactly where they just told the Royal Navy not to go, and they're doing this. So I would say something is going on. It seems to me like they're setting it up, and in the minds of the people that are following this, we all see it. So whatever percentage of the population that reads these stories is then telling their friends, hey, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is what's going on. Then it slowly gets out, and then everybody is in the back of their head. They think, okay, conflict is about to happen. They prepare you mentally. This has happened before WW2. This has happened before WW1. Everybody, it is natural for a human being to think that this won't happen. We want to be positive. We want the best to happen. It's actually built into our brains to think, like if you take, for example, us thinking about death. We have defense mechanisms to have us not think about our own demise. We all die. That's another thing. It's like if you're afraid, then you're afraid of death. And that means that you're basically not accepting of something that is a natural thing that will happen, that all of us have to go through. And we don't get to pick our time, or at least most of us. And if you do pick your time, I really hope you don't. So with all of this going on, it's pretty clear. I mean, we've shown you over 3 years of stuff, and people say, oh, this is what it's always coming, right? It takes a lot of time to put this massive thing together. This isn't just a regionalized little conflict or a state or this. This is the world. And guess what? They just were able to coordinate and organize an entire world coordination on something else just recently. So I think they're pretty capable of doing all of this as well. So again, it says the ceremony in the Ukrainian port city on Monday declared the opening of the massive drills, which will run until July 10th and feature a variety of nautical exercises from amphibious warfare and anti-submarine warfare to diving, maritime interdiction operations, air defense, and search and rescue, according to the U.S. Navy. So everyone is doing amphibious drills. Everyone is doing island hopping. Everyone is drilling to fight in the dark. Everyone is drilling in the night. They drill for the most possible scenario and the one that they think will happen, because they don't waste time. If you've ever known somebody in the military, their whole thing is efficiency, or at least that's what they try to go by. Being efficient as possible and trying to get things done with as little work as possible. Well, shouldn't say it that way. With as little effort as possible, putting the maximum result. So obviously, people don't want to hear it. It's in their defense mechanisms to say, oh, it's all fine. If you think everything in the world is all fine after last year, then sorry, you're going to be slapped in the side of the head with surprise. On the note, I would hopefully that all of you already know this, and to the new people here that have not heard about this yet, EMP Shield, our affiliate, is a company that we have worked with for now almost 3 years. This company, when we started, was a small company. It has now gotten contracts with DHS, DOD, of course, the DEMSO team helping the Texas grid. This company is Keystone-tested devices that can actually protect you against an electromagnetic pulse. It can also protect you against a CME, or coronal mass ejection, solar flare, up to 228,000 amps. So there's different devices for different things. You can get one for your car, which is the most popular. You can get one for, of course, your house, your generator, your boat, your solar system, even your ham radio. They make a device for everything. Right now, they are doing the Mission America sale. So it is on top of our $50, because we were one of their first affiliates. We get a guaranteed $50 off per device. They're right now doing $30 or more additionally to each device. Depending on what combo, you can even stack that. So make sure to go check it out. They are trying to get as many of these in as many homes as possible before they're needed. Make sure to go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP. By doing this, you get a huge discount, but you also help our channel grow. We are independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. And out of this 2-hour show, we usually do about less than, 7 minutes of ads. So we appreciate you listening through this. But again, go through that. This isn't a deodorant ad. This is something that we believe people will end up thanking us for, and it could very well save a lot of lives. It is something I believe that the government should already make standard in homes. If you can't sell a house without running water or all these codes, this should be in the code. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. And
Have
then
you ever thought about what happens when 228,000 amps hits your wires in your house?
I would always wonder.
It's not meant to handle that. It's the 20 amps per line, and they could probably take maybe double, triple that, but then boom, they're gonna start lighting up on fire.
Well,
right?
I think about your
electrical
house.
fires are like the biggest, one of the biggest things that happens when you have electrical issues like that. So, I don't know.
Well, I think about your house, how you have had so many issues with just lightning.
Oh yeah, lightning alone for me is it's a lifesaver for that.
You've gotten a ton of those surge protector things because don't they blow up, and after they blow up, you have to replace them?
Yeah, my Ethernet used to do that all the time. Yeah, but yes, lightning strikes nearby have been a very common problem here. But the thing that bothers me is the whole worrisome factor of like what would happen in the walls. Like you don't know. Like the last thing you want to do, even if you say, well, what good is it if there's no power after the fact? Well, also, what good is it if all of your walls on the inside are catching on fire, right?
Okay, well, you don't have to scare me that bad.
Sorry. That's just the reality. That's what I look at when I look at this. There's a lot of practical uses for it, even as a surge protector. It's phenomenal.
Maybe it's like will look like paradise. No, just kidding, but not. Russia's Avangard and Kinzhal hypersonic missiles put on combat alert. S-500 about to wrap up trials. Nobody likes that word. Put on combat alert. So Dex, can you explain what was going on here? They basically have put these from trials into real action, correct?
Yeah. So Putin came out and made the statement. He's like, basically, combat alert. They're ready. This would be the same thing as saying in our terms, combat readiness, right? They are in and fully operational and ready to roll. So it's basically they're wrapping up their trial period. But these are their two, major hypersonic systems that they have that they've been talking about for the last couple of years, and now they've gone from talk to, claiming that they are ready to be deployed and they're in use if as needed.
Yeah, and we have Raytheon on our end. We have Raytheon, Boeing, all of these companies that are pumping out different military equipment like they have never before. So I guess people think that they're just doing this to get the bill paid, for the military-industrial complex. Nobody thinks, if they're actually going to use this stuff. Right now, as of last year, we actually had a couple of employees reach out, and we had some information that we couldn't share that I think we can now because it did end up getting reported locally there. But Raytheon had so many missiles being built, it was about one every minute and a half, and they couldn't even keep them inside the facility, which this is a gigantic facility, gigantic property. It was going out into the parking lot. They were loading them in the parking lot. These are Raytheon missiles. These are missiles that get fired into Afghan, all the different places. They were sitting in parking lots. So they're definitely getting ready for something. China is mass producing everything they possibly can. They went from from number 3 or 4 U.S. 3 or 4 size Navy to the largest Navy in the world in a period of about 3.5 years. So all of a sudden we go, there are 100 ships bigger than our Navy. Where do you think their Air Force is right now? We also know that they're secretly building massive amounts of Air Force and secret amounts of submarines. They're basically going to try to beat us. So, again, the Avangard, all of that, the Kinzhal hypersonic weapons have been put out on combat alert, while the other state-of-the-art arms, including the new generation S-500 Prometheus surface-to-air missile system, are completing trials. Russian President Vlad stated on Monday. Russian President Vladimir Putin met with top graduates of military schools and academies of the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Emergencies, law enforcement agencies, and special services, addressing the future commanders. The Russian president emphasized that they would have to help their subordinates master the latest military equipment, stressing that Russia is already working out on a new state armaments program with a planning horizon until 2034. And then we have a U.S. destroyer shows up right off of Crimea on vessel tracking sites, but it never left port. Dex, this is weird. What the heck?
Yeah. So yeah, let's read the article. But the thing I want to think about is what it's not necessarily saying in here. Like, is there some weird technology we don't know about that's going on?
Well, do you remember the inflatable? As far as the inflatable tanks and the inflatable planes.
Right, and they had signatures built into them so they would show up on radar.
It says a couple hours ago, in what appeared to be the latest development in the cat and mouse naval activities being played out by Russia and NATO in the Black Sea, online ship tracking services showed that the U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Ross, sailing together with a Ukrainian patrol boat just 5 miles off the coast of the contested Crimean Peninsula in the middle of the night. The Navy has denied that the ship was anywhere near Crimea. What looked at first sight like a deliberate passage through what NATO recognizes as Ukrainian territorial waters, but which are also claimed by Russia, now seems to have been a case of deliberate spoofing of maritime tracking data, something that has also occurred 2 weeks ago in the same area. First of all, if you can spoof that a ship was there and then go back to it a couple days later after that ship, maybe they don't have proof of where it is or whatever, because that maritime data is what proves where that ship was. If they can prove or say that a ship was there, couldn't they say that a ship, say destroyed another one? Couldn't they just do a Fantastic Freddy on their own ship? So say a Russian ship is out in the peninsula or something, and they have another Russian ship painted like something, purposely attack it, and then go, well, here, we can show you right here on this map, the data shows that this Arleigh Burke-class ship was there and it attacked us. Could that happen, or is that not possible?
I certainly think it's possible. It sounds like it's what's going on here. I don't know if this is, spoofing transponders, if this is just hacking systems and going in and creating the appearance, or the flip side is they said, hey, the proof that the ship never left anywhere is it's on a webcam, and you can look at the webcam in the city at the port and you can see that the ship never left, but maybe it did leave and they spoofed the webcam. Right? They could loop it. I mean, everybody has seen the flipping security camera heist movies where they loop a 30-second reel and just keep looping it, or the Prison Break movies where they loop the shot of the guy going like this, and security is none the wiser. I think it would be easier to spoof a webcam for, say, a government or a business, webcam for a city building than it would be to spoof the data of an actual Arleigh Burke-class destroyer. But who knows? Even if this was just a hack and this just makes it look like it's over there, think about the consequences if we jump on things and say we see a Russian sub, come up in Puget Sound or something right next to Seattle. And then all of a sudden we say, hey, whoa, what are you doing? And at the same time it pops up, we see on the tracking data, or maybe they see on the tracking data, Russian sub popping up. At the same time, somebody takes a boom and takes out a city block. Well, they put two and two together and then they start launching. I know that's a bit extended, but at this point, what is going on here? There's weird things happening, and nobody can really
nobody has explained this yet. It says earlier this evening, marine traffic and vessel finder aggregators that provide real-time information on ship movements showed the USS Ross sailing very close to the Crimean Close, causing a big stir in the online open source intelligence community. If true, this would have put the ship closer to a Russian-occupied peninsula than the UK's Royal Navy Type 45 destroyer HMS Defender. Could this be a cover-up? Let me ask you this. If the HMS just had this issue in the same waters, NATO's about to do exercises there, would it be too insane to think that we maybe actually be going there to back them up, but it's top secret? So they had, somebody spoof a video or show an old picture. Has anybody looked at that webcam footage and said, maybe that's from June or July? What is the sun like? Is it proper weather for that day? Don't know. They probably would have thought of all that if they were going to spoof it. But this is very weird, especially since it shows it in that same kind of contested area and next to a Ukrainian patrol boat. Maybe they're hooking up and they're saying, hey, we're going to help you out here. We don't want to be here because if media finds out or any of the countries find out, this could be a really, hard spot politically. Don't know. But it definitely looks like something is going on that the civilians will never know. Defrustrated says Newsom draining our water from our lakes into the ocean on purpose. Save us now. They want to control us all. Defrustrated, I don't blame you. And of course, don't blame you for being defrustrated. Kate Paul says, I'll start at I think you did multiple there. So Kate Paul says, saw a U.S. ad recruiting people to build military equipment. Recruiting now. I heard ads on the radio. I actually believe I've heard the same one here in Seattle. And then Jeff P. says 10-story talking high-tech statue coming to 21 cities. The beast is here. 10-story talking high-tech statue. Jeff P., if you can, email me. I'd love to see what you're talking about. I'll gladly show it on the show and credit you. And Jeff P., if you guys haven't checked him out, he does sun-related videos, all sorts of weird things. He's caught lots of weird things on video. And he's a really good guy. He's been popping in. He actually watches the show. He actually comes in to say hi and sits and hangs out and chats. Jeff P., thank you for being such an awesome guy. You're one of the few people I've met that, is consistent and not over the top or under the top, I guess. Stephen McMahon says, let's see here. China waging weather war on the U.S., waging weather war on China. Yeah, they have had floods. We've had heat. We've had fires. They've had sinkholes. They've had all sorts of stuff, even waves, earthquakes, all sorts of stuff, which they did admit decades ago that they could do. Let's see. Please let us all know if you've heard this ad too, recruiting people to build military equipment and arms. Yes, Kate Paul, I believe I have heard that. And I'm sure people in the chat have probably heard it as well. I heard it on Cube, which is our local, hits channel. And Melissa Davis, thank you so much for subscribing. Laura Olivia Pfaff, Skaket Tomei, thank you so much for subscribing. Unheal Snipes. And, of course, Freedom Manlify and Vicky Ellis, thank you so much for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. Thank you so much. Global's channel says the best prep you can have here is knowledge. I agree with that 100%. All right, and then over on DLive, thank you so much. Reading the Gospel for popping in and supporting Quantum Cat. Bernardelli Bernstein, Mega Comet Inbound. Quantum Cat, thank you for popping in with that. Greatness One followed. The Naughty Gypsy Gem. As always, Priscilla R. So nice to see you tonight. Chewy Weather, Stormy7572, Lou Rock, and Sandra in Texas. Zookeeper Kims, thanks for all you do to bring us the news. And then, of course, Ski Ball says, I rarely get to listen live. Usually tune in from time to time for not an outro. I like that. Thank you, Ski Ball. And Quantum Cat, thanks for supporting tonight. I really do appreciate that. All right, next story. We have nationaldefensemagazine.org story here. It says, the Coast Guard is in talks with the B administration about adding additional heavy icebreakers to its polar security cutter program. The head of the Sea Service said on June 28th. The current program of record is to build 3 new vessels. Congress has already provided funding for the first 2. It says President JB's fiscal year 2022 budget request asks for an additional $170 million in procurement funding for the program, including for the long lead time. Let's see here. Fix that a little bit. For a 3rd vessel. There's probably a conversation for more than 3 polar security cutters, Coast Guard Commandant Admiral Carl Schultz said during a Brookings Institution event. We've done some work with the current National Security Council about broadening that conversation. I am encouraged that after a decade plus of talking about the need for new ships, we've got the funding for the first 2, on track for the 3rd, and having conversations about additional ships. That's a much better place for our nation to be in, but it takes time to build those ships, and it takes money. So, Dex, why do we need so many icebreakers? We know that Russia's cutting new tracks and new ways.
Exactly. We just reported not too long ago about the secret military base that Russia has put up in the polar area, the expansion, the runways, all the equipment, and now they're cutting in their own waterway through the ice across the north of the Siberian area. So it only makes sense, and this is exactly what I would expect to hear, is that we're going to start to see more of our spending in the polar area, right? If they're heading there, then we have to do it too, right?
Okay, so why did they need this area up here? Is it strategic for war? Is this something that they need to defeat us, if they have a pathway up there that they can move stuff back and forth, or if they have a massive exchange? Is that why this is needed? Why do they need this? Or is it because it will be a canal or a passage that bypasses other passages that are controlled by other countries? This one that will be controlled by them?
Yeah, the obvious public statement that they're pushing is that they being Russia, is by cutting this path in the north, it gives them a faster waterway around to China, right? So having that waterway and getting material to and from China into Russia, as opposed to going around through the canals and then coming up through the Mediterranean.
So it would definitely give them an advantage in a way. Backwoods Ingenuity says maximum, use minimal effort for maximum results. Min-maxing. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Minimal effort for maximum results. That's what I was trying to say. But of course, I just... That's a new word I made up. It's...
I'm going to use that one.
Are you?
Yeah.
Say it right now.
Min-max. Honey, I've min-maxed the dishes tonight.
See, I thought you were going to go, but you said min-maxing, and the echo didn't really have the same effect. So just try one more time, but do my version.
Min-max.
No.
Oh.
No, but then I didn't do the echo. Okay, now.
Min-max.
No. Oh my gosh. Just wait. Just do the derp-a-der in the first place. First show back after 5 days.
We're min-maxing it here.
Yeah, we're min-maxing. Thank you, Backwoods. Putin, Xi officially announced extension of Chinese-Russian friendship cooperation deal. It says those 2001 Sino-Russian Treaty of Friendship consists of 25 articles encompassing various domains in Russian-Chinese relations. In March, Moscow and Beijing agreed to automatically extend it for another 5-year term. Presidents Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin on Monday officially announced the extension of a Chinese-Russian agreement on a friendship and cooperation. They're high-fiving brown guys. I love it. It's just a beautiful thing. It says the deal is a 20-year strategic treaty that was signed in July 2001 in Moscow by Vladimir Putin and Jiang Zemin. Isn't that crazy? So he's been ruling for a long time now. And this is apparently... Is this a painting? That's so weird. It looks like a painting. Or maybe that was 1 megapixel back in 2001. I don't know. It looks like a painting. Or just a very bad photographer. I know that...
It's a painting.
It's so weird. Look at Putin, though. Look at Putin. He was skinny back then. Wonder what kind of horse he rode back then. Russian... What?
A short one.
A short one. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Monday during a video conference with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping that the Russian-Chinese cooperation plays a stabilizing role globally amid the growing geopolitical turbulence. He added that Moscow and Beijing that have no territorial disputes and are ready to make a common border a belt of eternal peace. Quote, "It is important that we register absence of any territorial claims. The two countries are ready to turn the common border into a belt of eternal peace and friendship. We did much to achieve this. We spent years on this, and we achieved the necessary result that both China and Russia find acceptable." I wonder what that result will be, right? They both hate somebody else enough. They're basically frenemies. This is their frenemy agreement. I think it even says frenemies right at the top of the contract. It says, and then it shows a picture of Xi Jinping and of course, Vladimir riding horses into the sunset.
If you go back to the picture with the painting, you think he's worried? He being the Chinese, what was it? Who was it? The chairman? You think he's nervous about the drink?
Oh, yeah. He didn't drink that. And neither did Putin. Putin's ex-KGB. Okay, let me ask you this. Would you, okay, Putin walks up with 2 glasses. Would you drink it? I'm sorry. He's ex-KGB. He's an ex-hitman. He literally took out an apartment building to get into his presidential spot. No thanks. I would go clink. I would pour it down my shirt. I would ruin that red tie. And of course, we have explained what is China's artificial sun experimental fusion reactor that has set a new record. So we've talked about this. I've talked about it in the past. Why are they building an artificial sun and an artificial moon? If you did not know this, and I know that much of you are totally caught up on this and you follow this very closely, but China has been making both. As far as the artificial moon, they wanted to put up this artificial moon that was some sort of satellite low Earth orbit thing that would light the night sky. They said it would replace all street lights, that at nighttime it would be this glow that you could see everywhere and you wouldn't need street lights. This thing, is the moon supposed to be nuclear? Do you remember? It was something that never has to be repowered, and it would light and it would save all this money on electricity and it would be much healthier and whatever. That's weird in itself. We're talking about of course, a artificial moon. Why do we need that? And then the artificial sun. It says the East Tokamak device is designed to replicate the nuclear fission process carried out by the sun and stars. China's experimental advanced superconducting tokamak, which mimics the energy generation process of the sun, set a new record after it ran at 216 million degrees Fahrenheit. Now that is hot enough to melt steel. It says for 101 seconds. So, depending on where you're at, 120 million degrees Celsius or 216 million degrees Fahrenheit. kind of makes our heat wave look kind of weenie. It says, according to state media, for another 20 seconds, the artificial sun, quote, also achieved a peak temperature of 288 million degrees Fahrenheit, which is over 10 times hotter than the sun. So if you were an alien out, wouldn't you detect that? That's a...
Yeah, where does all that heat go? Right? If they created all that heat, where did it go?
And what can contain that kind of heat? That's what I don't understand. Do they have some sort of metal that we don't know about? Or how is it contained? How is it like a fan and it's a ball that is being pointed in, so it's just getting hot by itself? But it's I don't even understand. Obviously, this is way over my head.
But even if they contain it, you're holding it, but it still has to dissipate. It has to go somewhere, right? So, like, where does that heat go? That's kind of crazy. That's a lot of heat. Now, maybe it's in a very small amount, so maybe that's part of it. But even if it's a large amount, that's a lot of heat.
Even if it's this big, it. Let me just read that one more time. 10 times hotter than our sun. Our sun. 10 times hotter than our sun. Even if it's this big, or the sun, would it matter? I mean, that would be just as far as the sun is away from us. Do people even? I don't even know if I believe this. The latest feat by Chinese scientists is a significant step in the country's quest. Oh, sorry, guys. I really am. Which is the latest feat by the Chinese scientists is a significant step in the country's quest to unlock clean and limitless energy with minimal waste products. It says the breakthrough is a significant progress, and the ultimate goal should be keeping the temperature at a stable level for a long time. So what are they using this for? It says, what is this for?
Well, I guess they'll make energy from it, right? I don't know if they'll use traditional steam, but they'll use something obviously from that heat.
Are they setting up for the future? Like if the sun goes supernova, we'll create our own sun or something? I don't get it. Are they using it could they power the whole world with a teaspoon of energy? Could they have 120 million Oprahs or something on a teaspoon and boom, they've got everything powered? Pretty crazy. Yeah, that's
a lot of Oprahs.
Oh, did I say Oprahs? I don't know why my brain goes there when I'm thinking of, yeah, that was weird. Israel's new camouflage technology can make soldiers virtually invisible. Dex, did you see this? They look like a rock.
I know, the picture's priceless.
It's a dude with a blanket. This is their high-tech camouflage. They put some plaster on their back. I don't know. Is that a rock? Which one am I looking at? Okay, I can clearly see that guy. He does not have the invisibility cloak. That is pretty... Man, it's weird. Look at that.
But from 1,000 yards, I'm sure it looks like a rock.
I don't know which one I'm looking at. This one definitely has a helmet, so that dip doesn't know how to put the damn thing on. Or he's actually standing behind a rock. It says the new camouflage technology can make soldiers virtually invisible, according to reports. The Kit 300 is made of thermal visual concealment material that reduces the detectability of soldiers. The technology has been procured by the IDF and is now being tested in the U.S. It says the Ministry of Defense, the MOD, and Polaris Solutions, an IS-based survivability technology company, have unveiled a new camouflage technology that makes soldiers virtually invisible. Hold on. This is just in. I believe I've acquired one. Dex, can you see me?
No, Adam, I cannot. It looks like a children's playroom.
I don't know.
There is no Marf there.
I don't know. I don't think it worked as well. I think they're actually onto something. Mine, you could see clearly that, there was a person there. I mean, it did work, but it didn't work as well. The Kit 300 is made of thermal visual concealment material that combines metals, microfibers, and polymers to reduce the detectability of soldiers.
Now, if you go back to the picture, I think the guy on the left, the concealment is so good that the helmet you're seeing is a guy hiding behind a rock. But it's really a person hiding behind a person. So that's really smart. I'm going to take cover behind another person.
Oh, weird. So
Isn't that weird?
It's a scene out of Harry Potter. That is cool. That's so weird. I don't know how they didn't think of that before. I wonder if it changes colors. Let's see here. Marv, can you please read the next article in JB Whisper style? Please. JB Whisper style. We'll have to figure that out. You're amazing. Light of love, everyone. Divine 1122, thank you so much. Chaos in the ER says, or is it the cause of your heat wave? Good point. What if that's really what's going on? It's the artificial sun. Jonesy 707, we've got a new name in here. Terrarashard 2233. Thank you for subscribing monthly. Thank you for getting the Marfia badge. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. Chameleon DNA. Chance Paladin says, Whisper News. Thermal sensors needed, LOL. Carrie Schaefer. Hope's coincidence. There's another dude in the bushes between the rock and the kneeling soldier. Wait a second. Is there somebody that we're actually missing? Huh. You know what they should have done?
Yeah, maybe there is.
They should have actually circled in a second photo the same thing, like, one of those, can you spot him? Is that a guy right there? If you see my mouse right here. No way. That's crazy. To the left of the rock. Well, I know that there's this guy. But is there somebody here? Oh, weird. Things are like kind of blurry and bent right here and here. Okay, that would be a trip if this was just literally a rock and they're talking about a guy that we can't even see. Anyways, I'm sure we'll see some even crazier stuff very soon. Make sure... yes. Make sure it's always preset up your snipe lines. The rock on the right is dressed like a soldier. That was good.
That's good.
The rock on the right is dressed like a soldier. Yeah, now we have new rock soldier camouflage. It's new technology that can make a rock look like a soldier. In fact, I think Russia...
Better than inflatables.
Yeah, Russia came up with that. Then they have a bunch of rocks lined up that look like a platoon. Really, they're real platoons somewhere else. Well, the U.S. military is responding to rocks. In fact, pet rocks. All named Vlad. Rolling blackouts for parts of the U.S. Northwest amid heat wave. Again, I think that there's more coming. I don't think we've seen the end of this. Randy Graves says, I have 2 words, Red Dawn, Wolverines. Yeah. Unprecedented Northwest U.S. heat wave that slammed Seattle and Portland, Oregon moved inland Tuesday, prompting an electrical utility in Spokane, Washington to warn that people will face more rolling blackouts amid heavy power demand. The intense weather that gave Seattle and Portland consecutive days of record high temperatures far exceeding 100 degrees was expected to ease in those cities. It said, but was likely to surpass Monday's high temperature of a record trying 105 Fahrenheit. That was in Spokane. It says about 8,200 utility customers in parts of Spokane lost power on Monday. And Avista Utilities warned that there will be more rolling blackouts on Tuesday in the city of about 220,000 people, with the high temperatures predicted to be at 110 degrees, which would be an all-time record. And then this is the border, U.S. border. No, wait, what is this? Oh, never mind. Sorry, easily confused here. Actually, no. The floaties kind of gave it away. That's a beach. Avista had planned for much higher than normal demand, but it hit its limit quicker than anticipated because of the intense heat. Heather Rosentrader, the company's senior vice president for energy delivery, said on Monday night. Temperatures in the other eastern Washington and Oregon communities that could reach out 115 degrees Fahrenheit Tuesday, a day after Seattle and Portland shattered all-time heat records. 115. That's unbelievable. That's just crazy. And then
there was clearly a no diving and a no swimming sign in that photograph.
Oh my gosh, you are totally right. Both right there. Good eye, Dex. Ben Yassin says border recreationists. That's pretty good. Recreationists or recreationists, like those World War II recreationists, recreation, where they all dress up. Multiple units, says Raymond Scott Benoond, like Stephen Benoond. And then we've got de Blasio warns of possible power outages, urges reduced energy usage amid record heat. So this is de Blasio. Remember, this is other side here. New York City Mayor de Blasio urged New York City's residents to immediately reduce energy usage in their homes and businesses Wednesday as the extreme heat has pushed Con Edison's power grid to the limit. Now remember, Con Edison is the same one that had strange outages, strange hacks last year. New York had the same area that went out on its anniversary in Manhattan, on the anniversary of the Great Blackout of Manhattan, where the whole city went, or one of the parts went dark during an entire night. In fact, it was such a horrible night. There was looting, there was all this crime, everything else, that all of the businesses on this row, most of them never came back. These were businesses that were there for decades. After this one night of blackout and looting and everything else, those businesses didn't come back. They couldn't recover from it. They weren't insurable. They didn't have insurance on most of these, and they all didn't come back. Just last year, we had this very strange thing with Con Edison where they said it was a fire in the sewer, but it just so happened to be on the anniversary of that night. It was like 30 years exactly, and it knocked out the actual area of like Manhattan where, the drop the ball, the signs, all that stuff that you see on TV. That area got knocked out. Broadway, all of that got knocked out.
Times Square,
thank you. That got knocked out. There was also multiple weird things going on with this. I guess one thing to point out, though, like I said earlier, is this is going to happen more and more. And all joking aside, they're talking about actual lockdowns for heat, lockdowns for environment. They're saying that it worked so well. We conserved so much energy and so much different things when we did these CV lockdowns that they're actually considering this for other parts of the world, for other things. There was some major repercussions from what happened over the last year and a half, and people don't realize it, but you handed it to them. Just remember who outnumbers who.
Hey, if you look at the bottom of that article, they actually sent out a mobile alert.
It says, emergency alert, conserve energy. NYC is urging all households and businesses to immediately limit energy usage to prevent power outages as the intense heat continues. Please avoid the use of energy-intensive appliances such as washers, dryers, and microwaves. Limit unnecessary use of air conditioning. Really? like it's not necessary. Oh, and by the way, microwaves, which is the only way people want to cook because they don't want to turn their oven on to heat up the damn house, they don't want you to use that. And the brainwashed masses are like, can't use my microwave, can't use my washer, can't use my dryer. And then I bet they look at the stats and they go, ha ha ha, these are the dumb ones. I understand that there's real reasons to do this. But I also understand that this is getting absurd.
Well, you know what will happen next, right? They're going to actually look at the stats of the homes, and they'll determine who abided and who didn't. Mm-hmm. Because it's all electronic. It's all in the meters.
Oh, man.
You're going to get labeled. You're going to get labeled. You're either on board or you're off board.
And you didn't even know. And then all of a sudden, one day on a Friday, your ATM starts working. You go home to a red dot on your mailbox. Ha ha! Not even joking. Flying car completes test flight between airports. A prototype flying car has completed a 35-minute flight between international airports in Nitra and Bratislava, Slovakia. The hybrid car aircraft Air Car is equipped with a BMW engine and runs on regular petrol pump fuel. Its creator, Professor Stefan Klein, said that it could fly for about 1,000 kilometers or 600 miles at a height of 8,200 feet and had clocked up 40 hours in the air so far. It takes 2 minutes and 15 seconds to transform from car into aircraft. It says the narrow wings fold down along the sides of the car. Professor Klein drove it straight off the runway and into town upon arrival, watched by invited reporters. He described the experience early on Monday morning as normal and very pleasant. It says in the air, the vehicle reached a cruising speed of 88 miles and then went into the future. Actually, it reached 170 kilometers. It can carry about 2 people and a combined weight limit of about 200 kilograms or 31 stones, which I have no idea how much that is. Jem, do you want to, how many is that in pounds? But unlike drone taxi prototypes, it cannot take off and land vertically. It requires a runway. In other news, long driveways are the future. There are high expectations for the nascent market in flying cars, which have long been heralded in popular culture as a visionary landmark of the future. Okay, so they have these stupid prototypes all over flight museums, and they never worked. If you need a runway, then it won't work yet. So it needs to be a drone or not.
Can you imagine, like, road rage in the air?
Yeah, but if you clip a wing, they die. It's like, oh, or brake checking would just be murder. I guess, sometimes it could be anyways, but yeah. Basically, road rage would be Top Gun every day. There are about 40,000 orders of aircraft in the United States alone. He says, and if we can't convert 5% of those to change the aircraft for the flying car, we have a huge market. But that is, okay, so that is the cool part. Yes, it needs a runway, but so here's the thing. They have these flight museum things where you had to physically take off the wings. If they made the wings to the point where they can fold along the car like this, then yes, I can see that here. I could see how that would be pretty cool. Dex, it didn't actually load. Do we have a picture of what this thing looks like? Could we try to see if there is one?
Yeah, I'll get you one. 1 second.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll pull this aside. And anyone can make an airplane, but the trick is making one that flies and flies and flies for the thick end of 1,000,000 hours with a person on board without having an incident. That was the quote there. I can't wait to see the piece of paper that says this is safe to fly and safe to sell. Yeah, it would be cool. And again, it does work as a normal car. So if it worked as a normal car, you can drive it around and then you can drive to the airport which, in traffic might take an hour, and then take a 5-minute flight to work, then, it will cut your drive to work down to, well, the same drive, but you get to fly for 5 minutes.
It's in screener.
Oh, perfect. So this is the actual, this is their actual vehicle. This is a prototype, but it is actually in somewhat of a stage of production here. Boom. Yeah, that looks super. That looks like it's going to be affordable. That is so flippin' cool. It looks like a transformer in a way. The actual wings basically flip in and then flip into the car. But then you have this stupid looking spoiler. In fact, I could see, Dick's Drive-In or, any Sonic Drive-In with the car club pulled out in front. A bunch of Hondas with their giant spoilers that are unnecessarily big. And then this guy pulls up and it's like, got you all beat. It looks like a dumb 1970s prototype that is going to end up in the Flight Museum. Like, we designed it, but then we realized that you can't really drive down the street with a 9-foot spoiler and, Well, I don't want to spoil it for you. Okay, we are there. Yeah, we're there. Shocking moments. Shark leaps out of the water and bites a parasailer's foot at Red Sea Resort. Okay, so this is a trip. So this actually happened. Imagine the craziness. A shark actually comes out of the water and grabs the parasailer's foot. A parasailer is where you have the parachute, but you're getting pulled behind the boat and you go, about 60, 100 feet above the water and you're getting towed and the parachute keeps you up. He was low enough and a shark actually jumped out of the water and bit its foot, and he was seriously injured. Apparently it broke bones, it tore his ligaments. It says footage of the horrifying incident shows the tandem paraglider, a 37-year-old Jordanian man, hovering above the water when a shark suddenly emerges and chomps his leg. It says the man sustained serious injuries in the attack of Aqaba on Friday evening and was rushed to the Prince Hashim Military Hospital. Medics operated on his right foot, which had several tendons severed at the muscle, torn in the incident, as well as having several broken bones. He was later said to be in stable condition. Mohammed Katana from the Aqaba International Dive Center told local media attacks by sharks in the Gulf Aqaba are rare. Speaking to Jordan News, he said that the shark attack garnered a lot of media attention. Truthfully, it scared a lot of people. But this is something that can take place anywhere. Says, quote, in Iraq, for example, there are snakes and scorpions, but in the end, they're not dangerous enough to scare people away. I've been driving for 20 years, and this is the first time I've heard of diving, heard of a shark attack. Also, there's something to be said that they say that there's a lot more of these sharks coming closer inland because of all this change. Some say it's because of pole shift. Some say it's the tilting axis of our Earth is screwing all of these animals' magnetic kind of navigation systems. There is one thing to be said, though. There has been mass die-offs and mass beachings of all these different animals. They have seen that any animal that goes off of the natural compass of the world, a lot of them have been having serious issues. The Hammerhead Shark, for example, is having all of these issues navigating. Now, if you've ever heard or seen any of the cool studies into hammerheads, they actually have a detector on the bottom side of their body. They can detect even like their prey with their they can detect the, I believe, I don't want to misquote, but I'm pretty sure they can detect the heartbeat and like different stuff or the magnetic qualities of other animals. But they also navigate based on their internal's magnetic compass. A lot of these animals do. And we're seeing all of these weird things happen and all these weird animals that are out of place. We've also seen whales and all of these other animals that are out of place. We've seen birds migrating the wrong direction. We've, of course, seen all these weird instances of birds flying towards something that doesn't exist, but it does sometimes match up with these weird pole shift, how the pole is like jumping all over the place. So who knows?
Well, what's also interesting is they report here that there's no shark attacks there, rarely, right? That's what the guy said. But then after this happened, like the next day, a boat was actually attacked by a shark. So weird things, right? Or they're just, it's just coincidence. But
and
we're seeing a lot of these things.
The Tourist Commission doesn't want you to know about this, but parasailing is totally safe. Just make sure you're at least 20 feet up. Otherwise, jaws you.
Make sure the dip, they give you that dip. Right? If you've ever parasailed before, you come into the water and you touch it real quick and then they pull you right back out. You want that to be really quick or just skip it altogether.
Yeah, no, I'm good. In fact, after seeing this, I probably won't parasail at all. I've always wanted to, not anymore. Also, the picture on the right is a picture of a reference to a shark jumping out of the water. That is not the actual shark that bit, but this picture on the left is... looks like you can kind of see the tail fin of it popping back in. This was the parasailer and how low he was. And like Dex says, there's usually a part where they bring you close so you can kind of touch your feet to the water and then you can go back up. That is flippin' scary. Can you imagine already being scared? Maybe it's your first time doing that and then you get your foot bit off by a shark. Credit to the shark, though. That is a very fast shark.
I parasailed once, and it wasn't in America. And that was scary enough because the safety issues are just not... The quality control is not there. It was pretty rickety.
This was a good example of fly fishing for sharks. Bob Dobbs says bioelectrical. That is right. I believe that's what you call their system. Aw, no, says Enlightened Goddess. Yes, that's a big aw, no for me, too. We've got T. Prada. You're going to need a bigger boat. Shark fly fishing. A flyby shooting. Oh, my gosh, that's good. I think we need a bigger boat. Bass do this to flies. If, for whatever reason, this triggered everybody's pundar. Pundar? Pundarby? Because it's in the Middle East. I'm just gonna keep going. See if anybody heard it. Just see if anybody heard it. Okay, we're good. There's your JP whisper voice. Zippy Moons says, "Hang on, Merlin. I'm gonna hit an air brake." Gonna fly right by. Frequency says, I love how you spell that too. Frequency. It says 2 Chinooks fully armed just flew 20 feet over my house in eastern Washington State, guns hanging out and all, hour north of Spokane. Yesterday, my wife and I watched, I don't know if Mrs. Murph is in the chat, for 2 hours there was a military chopper flying I would say somewhere towards like Maple Valley or somewhere towards there. It flew over and it was just super loud. We actually traveled through that area and it was just weird because it was 2 hours still there. And first we thought it was like news or maybe news or a police helicopter or something like that. And it was, sure enough, it was a military full-on big double one, loud, foof, foof, foof. It might have been an hour and a half. I don't know how long they can actually fly without gassing, but it was so long. I mean, we could not believe it was still there when we drove back by. And then...
well, if that one went over his house at 20 feet, he better check his shingles.
Yeah. Well, actually, I saw this weird YouTube short that showed why the White House and the president doesn't use those flip-up planes. You know, the ones that have the double rotators that go up. Does anybody know what those are called?
Vertical takeoffs.
Yeah, but it's not a Harrier. It's a helicopter that it turns into a plane. It's a helicopter that turns into a plane. It has the 2 rotors that go up. What are those called? Does anybody know? Osprey. Osprey. The reason why the president doesn't use the Osprey, not because it's one of the reasons is because the wind is so strong that it would ruin actual grass and things like that. It would just blow everything away, plants, all that. It would ruin the White House lawn. But the other reason is because, or the main only reason is because a normal helicopter can actually, if the engines completely die, just like a plane, how a plane can glide with no power and have a chance of landing, so can a helicopter. It's called like forced wind or something. If somebody can correct me on that too. But when a helicopter is going down and the engine's completely died, the force of the air actually forces it to spin and gives it lift, and it can slowly land. There's actually videos of military. They purposely cut the engines and land without the engines on. So in an emergency, the president's in that helicopter, engines die, they still have a chance of landing it. So that's why the Osprey they have smaller blades, and it doesn't work like that. So there's no chance of that happening. If it died like that, it would, president would be gone. Which a lot of people would be like, okay, we need to change over to the Osprey. Ron Ventori, Zippy Moons, thank you. Thank you for that. Again, hang on, Merlin. Susan from Alaska, thank you so much. I salute. Thank you so much for your support. You can always write a message there. Brett Butler says, Gears of War, Hammer of God, Boom, Future, Schweppens. I think I read that wrong. Boom, Future, Schweppens. I know I read it right. Yes, absolutely. Silly Gurgle says, how does the China sun affect humans? I don't know. Most of the people in the pictures were squinty like this, but I think that was just because of the location. Kara Fusilier says, hey y'all, from Kara from Louisiana, saying hello, Misha, and hello to Kuna's cousin Trey Granger. Kara Fusilier, thank you so much for sticking around for so long. Kate Paul says, doobie, toopy, doopy. Do, like Mountain Dew, got it. Jennifer San Sammy, thank you so much. Foogle Fam for life. Be best, be free. Hey, Marf, Bagley interview Steve Quayle about the Giants coming to 21 cities about 3 weeks ago, if you want to check it out on his YouTube channel. God bless. Be best, be free. I think that's what Jeff P. was actually talking about earlier, the 21 high-tech statues, I think, right? I believe that's what he was talking about. Savannah Hillborn, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome. And then Silly Gurgle, hey, Marf Dex, you guys know about exosome shedding? I believe we've talked about it. I don't think we can, though. And then Stormblade X69, go to our website. You got to see all the cool stuff there. Stormblade X69 WAG says, great work, Marf. Keep fighting. Thank you so much. Greg Stroup, thank you for subscribing. And then Speak Aloud says, Century of Enslavement, History of Federal Reserve, a brief history of hopium, both by a most impressive open source CorbettReport.com. Speak Aloud, I will check it out. I believe I've heard of the brief history of hopium. And then Believer in Christ, thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting Independent. Speak Aloud says, CIA has organized crime and take out anything that moves. Free audiobooks on YouTube. September 1/1, The New Pearl Harbor, documentary on YouTube by Massimo. Speak Aloud, I have not seen that one yet. I've seen Loose Change and all the other ones that came out a long time ago. I think everybody should brush up on that. Kate Paul, that's all I can give for now. I'm on a budget. I love you and be prepared for anything. Well, Kate Paul, you know you don't have to do anything, but thank you so much for doing some in the first place. Superstar, thank you so much. Ed Nunez, get ready for Tilt. Kate Paul says, Marf, I think STH going on recruiting to build military equipment and weapons. I heard ad on car radio. And then Boltarama says, we support Marf. Cowboy Joe Radio. Boltarama, thank you. Make sure to check out Cowboy Joe Radio. I love it. There's definitely something suspicious going on with the weather, says Silly Gurgle. Who cares? Well, you should, says Loose Lips Sink Ships. That's right. Nutsack909 says people need to start getting generators ready, and if possible, by solar flashlights and solar lights. So again, solar is a big deal as well. We are working on a partnership with Some Solar. I think that it is a very good thing to have. Again, very, very important right now. Deep Frustrated, Newsom is draining our water from our lakes into the ocean. Yes, okay, so I got that one. Thank you, everybody that has supported, including Jessica Lomos and Carmencia Dragon, Keith, Death Coy Tucker. Man, what a name is that? And Liz Gaspari Nutrition says, please wish my only son, Matthew, happy 21st birthday. Matthew, happy birthday from Marf. Now you had your Marf happy birthday. Dex, obviously just so much going on. It's absolutely insanity.
Absolutely, Adam. And if you guys aren't aware of what other content we have that we haven't even been able to talk to you about and tell you about and show you, just go to marfooglenews.com. Go there, click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to web-only content. And web-only content today is kind of stacked because there's a few days worth of web-only content there. So go there and definitely check it out. Lots of interesting things, some new stuff going on with the former administration, and some legal things that are happening as we speak. Lots of other things going on with the counting and etc. It's all there. Go take a look. marfooglenews.com. Scroll down to web-only content.
Now, one thing that we didn't talk about yet, and kind of go out. So, what is your opinion? I know that there was probably, up until a few years ago, there was a lot of fans of Bill Cosby. And Bill Cosby did have a very loyal following. Even after all this stuff came out, people still followed him because he was so funny. And he was such a big part of a lot of people's childhoods. And in childhood, one of it, his show was this family-friendly and beautiful show. It was something that was kind of magical in a lot of people's eyes. And he was a very funny man. But then it came out that he did, pretty disturbing stuff. He just got released, and they apparently can't even try him again, like a double jeopardy type thing, because of something that was done wrong. His $1 million, $1 billion lawyer, whatever they had, basically got him off. What do you think about this? Now, I'm going to say press 1 if you're okay with this and you think it should go, or 2 if you're not okay with this. Put that in the chat. Let's see. I'll turn this on. 1 if you're okay with Cosby getting out, you think he should. And don't get on anybody's case if they say the opposite opinion of yourself. Or 2 if you think he shouldn't have. I think people should have, if you have the other opinion, that's fine. One thing that I believe that a lot of people are saying 1s for is because they don't know if he really did it. I would say you're innocent until proven guilty. Did they prove him? I don't know. I didn't follow it closely enough. But what I do know is what he's accused of is giving people, bad things to put them asleep and then doing things. That, as an act, is absolutely 100% the most disgusting thing on top of all of the other stuff that goes on in Hollywood, which a lot of you've heard about, but some of you may not think it's true. It is 100% true, especially about the Nickelodeon stuff, the Disney stuff, all that kind of stuff. It's disgusting. And it's actually kind of funny considering all the stuff that we know about those networks and kids and all this other, that they actually pull ads on certain channels because they said something political, this or that. It's like, wow, you guys are just real special. Double jeopardy. So he somebody says, I can't stand him now, but he's paid his debt to society. Well, I don't know how long he was in there. Dex, do you know how long Mr. Bill was in there? How many years was that? Was it?
I'm not sure. Let me look.
It was great. I mean, but one thing I don't know though. Here's the thing: if he did get out and they legally did it, I think one thing that should be done now is that we should actually have a solid understanding of a legal system that you can do that, because what is happening now is you are guilty until proven innocent. That is what's been happening lately.
He served more than 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence.
So somebody said he served his debt to society. I don't know if 2 years is enough for if he did what they say he did. Then, yeah. Was he supposed to, 2 of a 10? They only gave him 10 in the first place?
No, he was 3 to 10. So I guess it was a variable
3 to
sentencing.
10?
3 to 10.
So wait a second. That's like almost like good time. Like he would have gotten out in a couple years anyways. This is what I don't understand. People that have like a drug charge or something, or, the weirdest charge will get 25 years. And then somebody who does just the most heinous things gets 3 to 10 years or 2 to 5. And then on good time do 6 months or do 2 years instead of 5. I don't understand it. Putting Cosby aside, there are people that get almost nothing for the most just, heinous crimes. And then people that say brandished something or defended themselves or even shot a robber in their own house, they get the book thrown at them. But then yet somebody, does something absolutely horrific. The kind of offenses that you can't talk about on TV. And they get 3 to 10. Anyways, there's a lot of great content on the website. I want to thank a very special thank you to everybody over on DLive. Thank you to Gone Girl 777, Susan Donahue. Thank you to Veteran Steve, to End Times. Thank you all. You guys are very special. Thank you, wherever you are. Bear Claws, Bad Wolf Gigi, Jacktronics, Roaming Wolf. Thank you so much for tonight, for supporting. Reading the Gospel at AZ45, Maui Racing Realtor, and of course, we've got Jacktronics against his Fugel Fam Dex and Adam and Mod's Rag. I'm putting him Modem and Max Dak. That's Min Maxis.
A check screener too.
Oh, thank you so much. And then Roaming Wolf and Penny Lane 87. Thank you everybody that popped in tonight. Thank you all of N95 Hero. Thank you so much for dropping Ninja Guineas over in DLive. And then Cynthia Lynn. I hope you are doing well somewhere. And Caitlin Paul, thank you so much for popping over to YouTube. To PayPal during the show. Says, dang, I'm trying to tell you, they have ads to recruit people to build military equipment and weapons. Oh, well, Kate Paul, I believe I got that message. In fact, I said it. But thank you so much for your support. Humble Pie, this is long overdue. Love you guys and appreciate all you do. Prayers and blessings. Stay in the Word. Thank you. Susan N., thank you so much for your support over on PayPal. Edward W. says, my favorite family members I never met. Dex doesn't get enough love, so much love, brother. And then Bonnie D., thank you so much. Gone Girl says, hello, Adam and Dex and Fugel Fam. Sorry, missing shows. A lot of personal issues going on, and it's not good. Hopefully things will get better soon. Tell all fam hello, please. Of course. And again, Terry S. and Kimberly W., glad you survived the heat. God is good all the time. Gone Girl, just so you know, we're all praying for you here, and I understand. There are so many people right now that have so many personal issues, and it's only going to get worse from here. So we've got to back each other up. If you see somebody picking on somebody else that's in the Fugel fam, make sure to stick up for them. Doesn't matter if you have argued before. I hope that everybody apologizing and getting squared up. I think that we should honestly just keep in mind that we are so much more powerful together than apart. There are a few exceptions to that, but most of the time, it's like you just got to keep moving forward and keep moving positive. All right, thank you, everybody. Remember to go to marfooglenews.com. And then, again, today's show is brought to you by NordVPN. Make sure to go over there, and if you want to help the channel out and save yourself some money on an actual great virtual private network, you can do so at marfooglenews.com/VPN. Use the special code MARFOOGLE to save upwards of 70%, and you actually can combine it usually with other stuff, but make sure to go over there and check out their current sale. It hides your IP from the bad guys, which also prevents data logging, and, of course, it is up to 6 simultaneous devices, which means your phone, your computer, your laptop, your tablet, your kid's tablet, all that with one account. marfooglenews.com/VPN. Use the special code MARFOOGLE. All right, guys, it is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro. Dex, can you tell me who the top 3 over on DLive are?
Absolutely, Adam. In number 3 position is Zippy Moons. Number 2 is Skee Ball. And in the number 1 position, thank you very much, is N95 Hero.
And it looks like Kate Paul is the number 1 over on YouTube. Thank you, Kate Paul. I appreciate you. And we are out of here.
Everybody fine, go back down like an OC pie. City girl, and Borderama Pearl. I got the speaker loud in the backwoods ingenuity, believer in Christing. Kate Paul, Superstar 201132, Ed Nunes and I'm Borderama 2. Hey, who cares? Well, you should. Thanks loose lipstick and the ships are bud. And I bring it back like Nutsack 909. Bring it back fine and a lot of rack. A racks of wood, deep frustrated. Everybody knows that we demonstrated. Lots of patience, Stephen McMahon, doing everything that Zippy Moons can. Pamela Reinitz, Linda, shit tester, going back down, everybody has to pester. Like a molester, Bill Cosby, no matter what you think. Unheld a Snipe Z with an X. Melissa Davis and those checks that they go bringing to Billy Leather, RE55 and BMFer, Polar and Stuff You Too. Jesse and the rest that got that poo.
Everybody got it, got it. Bring it back down and then put it in the packet. Nah, gotta get it down now. No more Marfoogle News.
Melissa Davis, everybody Mavis, all these famous. Bring it down, feed them and mind the 5. Biggie Ellis and up on the side, live. Oh, 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 oh. Yeshua Owens with the Wilson Ace. K Canton Saturn the harder will pay. Going now down in the woods, some more pay. That's how you gal, Laura Griffin and Mighty Tor. Joe Dada Cow and O and the Brow. Rap Show Girl now and the Joe Lau. Bring Andy Burnham, UK has a cure for cancer. Ice Hello Rise. Razor with the 524. Hey, with the Mick Powell, Susie on the board. Susie on the view with the Bring It On You. Harry Balls with that Rio on the heart. Emoji on the do with the Yabba Dabba Shark. Pedigree fish in the Bring It Down part. Maui Racing Realtor and Bob Dobbs. Mark for President, Babe Bob Dobbs. Come on, bring it back now, oh more door. Doorknobs going back round Bob Moore.
shot it. I do go back now, everybody gotta duck it. Bring it back down and then put it in the bucket. Right now, gotta get it down now. No more Marfoogle News.
Oh, with the yum yum on the burglar, yeah, done it, and everybody will pause. Oh no, the Mr. Bear Claus, everybody wanna look and pause. Pause. Cindy, if you didn't get no chest, that's it doesn't show you it away. And no go in the save your show. Sheep all gonna get bad diarrhea. Wishing on the H in the ring down low. Funny on the rip, girl, ready to slow. Fast forward on now, bring it back down, yo.
Right now, gotta get it down now. No more Marfoogle News. Gotta do the Marfoogle News. I got it. I did it right now. Everybody got it. I did it right now.
All right, let's make a fresh one. This one is for Kate Paul. Okay. Give me a word. Chat, give me a word. Any word, a word for number one word. One word in the chat. We're going to make a song together. Fresh. Marf, no napping, keep rapping. Jesus. Semiconductor. Tom McDonald. That's a good one. Elvis. Censored. Australia. Bazinga. Inflatable bazinga. That might mean something else. Love pudding. Oh no, that sounds something bad too. Phlegm matrix. I think we're making some gang names here. Puppy hot sauce. That's a good one. Rasta truthin. Crazy roundabout. Crazy roundabout. I liked the truthing puppy. Okay. Truth and puppy. Truth and puppy. Truth and puppy. Truth and puppy. Truth and puppy, 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 truth and puppy,